Hello, Froggy friends. I'm Nadine Haruni, the author of the Freeda the Frog children's book series. And this lovely lady sitting right next to me, straight off the pond from Port Frogafly, is the one and only Freeda the Frog. Thank you for joining us today for our virtual story time. Today, I'm going to be reading the third book from my series, Freeda the Frog is on the Move, where the kids move to a new home and have to change schools. Have any of you froggies out there ever had to go to a new school or change homes? Did you feel a little scared or nervous at first? Well, so did Freeda's tadpoles. Now, before we get started reading our story, let me tell you a little about our series. Just like no two frogs look the same, no two families look the same, and that's what our series talk about. We have 4 books out so far and are so excited to share our frogtastic news that coming June 2nd is our new 5th book, Freeda the Frog and the Two Mamas Next Door. And the best part is that there are many more stories coming where you can follow along Freeda as she meets many other types of families and has many different adventures. Now, one more thing before we get started. I'm going to let you in on a little froggy secret. Shh, I'm not sure if you know that frogs have their own secret language, but I'm going to teach you your first word in frog talk. Repeat after me. You ready? Ribbit, ribbit. You've probably heard frogs make that sound many, many times, but do you guys have any idea what that means? It means woohoo! Let me hear you say it all together now. Ready? Woohoo! Good job. So when you hear Freeda or her tadpoles say these words at home, I want you to feel free to shout it out loud and proud so that Freeda and I can try to hear you. What's that, Freeda? Okay, Freeda wants to get things started. So now, who wants to hear Freeda the Frog is on the move? Come on, raise your hands. So here we go. You can follow along and read with us if you have the book with you, or just look at the screen behind me. Freeda the Frog is on the move. Things started settling into place after Freeda and her new husband Samson had their wedding. Freeda made some room in her lily pad so that Samson and his tadpole Jack could move in with Freeda and her tadpoles, Frank and Franny. As happy as they were to be a new larger family living together, it was not all easy. They were living with new frogs and had to get used to each other's way of living and doing things all in their small lily pad. Frank had to share his small room with his new stepbrother Jack. Frank used to love to sleep in until his alarm clock went off for school, but Jack always woke up early. Their room was small, so Jack would wake Frank up too. Franny, who loved having her own room and loved having Jack and Samson living with them, she certainly did not love sharing her bathroom with not only one, but now 2 tadpole brothers. They were so messy. Even Freeda and Samson would bump into each other as they got ready for work each morning. There wasn't enough space to hop around and play together anymore. Their lily pad was big enough to fit 3 frogs, but 5 frogs was just way too much. Freeda and Samson knew they had to do something for their family. After a discussion, they decided it would make the most sense for them to move to a new, larger lily pad. That would allow the tadpoles more room to hop around and play, and everyone could enjoy living together without being on top of one another. The only problem was that there were not a lot of lily pads for sale in Frog-a-Lot. Freeda and Samson looked far and wide before they decided to look at the neighboring lake town of Port Frogafly. They saw several nice lily pads there, but there was one in particular that they fell in love with. There was plenty of room for the tadpoles to hop around and play, and a nice large backyard. The pad had lots of space for everyone. "It's perfect," said Samson. "We'll buy it," said Freeda. Now it was time to tell the tadpoles. Would they be as happy as Freeda and Samson were? They hoped so. "We have some exciting news to tell you," began Freeda. "Are we getting a pet fish? Are you having a new baby tadpole? Tell us," said Franny. "Not exactly," Freeda chuckled. "Our exciting news is that we're all moving to a big, brand new lily pad." Franny, Frank, and Jack all jumped up and high-fived one another, happily shouting, "Ribbit, ribbit!" which was frog talk for woohoo! "What part of Frog-a-Lot is it in?" asked Franny. "Is it near the grassy side of the lake or the rocky side?" "Actually," said Samson, "it's not on either side of the lake. It's just across the other lake, in Port Frogafly." "What?" all 3 tadpoles yelled. "We can't leave Frog-a-Lot," said Franny. "All of our friends are here, and we love the Frog-a-Lot school." "This is not exciting news at all," said Jack. "It's the worst news I've ever heard." With that, all three tadpoles hopped into Franny's room, had a group hug, and cried their little tadpole hearts out together. Freeda looked over at Samson with tears in her eyes. Why were the tadpoles all so upset? The new lily pad would have so much more room for everyone. And Port Frogafly had a great family and fabulous school system. Freeda just knew they would love it once they were there. "Maybe they're upset about moving to another lake," suggested Samson. I bet you're right," said Freeda. "We'd better let them discuss it a bit before we talk to them again." A little while later, Freeda and Samson knocked on Franny's door. "Come in," said Franny. Freeda put her arms around the tadpoles and said, "We know this is difficult. Moving to a new town and a new school can be scary, and change of any kind can be scary for grown-ups too. Right, Samson?" "Right," said Samson. "You'll still be able to see all of your Frog-a-Lot pals and your other parents as well. And you can always frog time them anytime you want to. We're sure that you'll all make some great new friends at the Port Frogafly School. Plus, won't it be nice to have a lot more room to hop around and play with each other at home?" Franny, Frank, and Jack looked at each other and shrugged their frog shoulders. "Can you give us a minute to chat about everything?" Franny asked. "Sure," Freeda said with a smile. The three tadpoles huddled together to discuss, but it didn't take them too long. They soon hopped out and turned to their parents and said, "Okay, let's give this a shot." This was music to Freeda and Samson's little frog ears, and what do you guys think that Freeda and Samson said? That's right, they said, "Ribbit, ribbit." They brought their tadpoles in close for a big family hug. "We all know you'll be very happy in Port Frogafly," said Freeda. The move to Port Frogafly went well, and the tadpoles all loved their new rooms. The new lily pad was everything their parents said it would be, and everyone loved having so much more space to hop around and spread out. Franny especially loved not having to share her bathroom with her two messy tadpole brothers. Franny, Frank, and Jack hung up their favorite posters in their new rooms, and before long, the new lily pad felt like home. Then came the first day at their new school. The tadpoles were all a little scared, but also excited to meet their new friends. The teacher introduced them to the other tadpoles on the first day. "Class, I'd like you to meet our three newest tadpoles, Franny, Frank, and Jack. They just moved here from the nearby town of Frog-a-Lot, and I am sure you will all make them feel very welcome." During recess, Franny, Frank, and Jack were a little worried that no one would ask them to play, so they stuck together. But 5 minutes later, one of their new classmates said, "Hey guys, why don't you come join us for a fly catching contest?" "Sure," said Franny, Frank, and Jack all together, and they headed over to join their new friends. Freeda and Samson picked up the tadpoles after their first day of school, and they were so excited to hear how much fun they had. "A new school, a new home, a new town," said Franny. "I think this worked out pretty great for all of us," continued Frank. "I guess change isn't so scary after all," said Jack. "Right you are," said Freeda and Samson together. "Now, let's go home." The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this book, where we learned that life changes do not have to be so scary after all. Guess what? At the end of our books, we have coloring pages and bookmarks and even a flat Freeda, where you can take Freeda along with you on all of your family adventures. We also have some discussion questions so that you can keep the conversation going with your parents or teachers or friends. Check out our @Freeda the Frog Facebook and Instagram pages and the events page on Freeda's website for the date of our next virtual story time. Okay, tadpoles, that's it for now. Until next time, ribbit, ribbit.